This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome back to part 2 of An Anthropologist Watches Hannah Alonzo's Influencer Insanity, Rage Baiting, and Why Influencers Are Intentionally Making You Mad, Episode 5, Part 2. Our Part 2, her Episode 5. Now, if you haven't watched the first part of this, I highly recommend going back and watching at least the first part of the first part, because it does explain what we're doing here and why we're doing it, and it goes over some theory and just application and all that. Things that I will be talking about in this video, and I'm not going over it all again. So just go back and listen to that part, because I'm going to just jump in and assume that you guys know what we're talking about. If you don't, and you're just watching this part and you have questions, just be sure to timestamp it down below in the comment section, so that when I go back through the comment section, I know where you got lost and I remember what I was saying when you commented, because I won't by the time we get around to doing comments. So, all right. So in Hannah's video, we had just gotten done with the gallon-sized coffee, and we are moving on to the mini fridges. So I've got her queued up and ready to go. I do not have her sped up because Hannah is actually talking at a reasonable pace, and I don't really think I need to speed her up at all. So there's that. And do I need to say anything else before? Because I kind of just want to get into this, because I don't really need to talk about anything else. And this video is only 40 minutes long, and we've already taken 7 minutes out of it. So I'm hoping we can get through this in 2 parts. So, all right. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. Yeah, we're just going over this nicely with the dark anthropology and going over those principles. I do have links in the description down below for the papers that I will be referencing, and the playlist for Hannah's videos and the playlist for these videos. So you have plenty of things to watch if you so choose. And that's all I've got there. So, right, let's just get going on this then.
Into the whole first section of this video on rage baiting regarding food. This is hands down the most popular genre of rage bait. Videos which feature the mistreatment of food, whether that be the overconsumption of food, the wasting of food, the way people are eating, and like the mouth noises they're making.
Mouth noises.
Or ridiculous recipes designed to disgust and enrage people. It is everywhere. And when preparing for this video, I put out a request on my Instagram story of people to send me examples of rage bait that they've seen. And these next 2 videos were sent to me more times than I can count. This is so incredibly problematic. It wasn't even a question. I had to include it. I have to show you this. This is an account run by the mom of 11 children, and some of her most popular videos are restocking my kids' mini fridges. I get the impression that each of her kids have a mini fridge in their bedroom with snacks designated for them, and they have access to this whenever they'd like. That's kind of what she's trying to make us believe. And here's one that really got people up in arms. What she's doing in this video is she's going to each of her 11 kids and asking them, what do you want in your mini fridge for this week? And 10 out of the 11 of them ask for some form of junk food, or candy, chips, ice cream, sodas, that kind of thing. One kid does ask for steak, and you know what? I respect it. In this case, we have a 5-year-old child asking for candy and chips, naturally, like you would expect a 5-year-old to do. And it appears that the mom is giving her 10 packages of movie theater candy and 5 bags of chips. These restocks are supposed to have them set for the week. This is apparently something she does on a weekly basis for her kids. So a 5-year-old is getting unfettered access to 10 boxes of candy and 5 bags of chips over the course of a 7-day period, and then it all resets next week with whatever she asks for then? Absolutely not. That's not acceptable.
There's 5 bags of chips over a week-long period. That's like a bag of chips a day. They're like single, they look like they're single-serve bags. The candy, maybe that's a bit much. I don't know. I don't have kids. There she goes playing with her packing paper. I wouldn't eat that much candy. I didn't have access to that much candy as a kid, but the chips, my family always had chips growing up. So my parents were big fans of Mike Sell's potato chips, the ridged kind. So I hate potato chips. Is there a connection there? Maybe. I'm just saying, like, the chips are not that strange. The steak is more strange than any of it. And I don't know, but like, it's just every now and then Hannah says something that just is very, well, judgmental to me with the whole like, absolutely not. That is unacceptable. Like, it's unacceptable for you. I mean, I know Hannah has a child, and if that's how Hannah doesn't want to raise her kid, that's fine. But like, there's lots of families that feed their kids, that let their kids have snacks that are chips. I don't think that's that weird. The candy, I don't know. I feel like that's a lot of candy, but it might not be. We're talking about a week-long period, so like 7 days. I don't know. When we were children, when we would go to the movies, I mean, that little box of Junior Mints there on the corner, that's what you would buy at the movie theater. You know, back before they had all of the bullshit that you can buy at the movie theaters now, you just had those boxes of candy. That was all you had. That and popcorn. That was all you had at the movie theater. You'd get that box of Junior Mints, and you'd eat the whole damn thing during the movie. So it's not unthinkable to happen. Now, was I eating a box of them a day? No. So there's that. I just don't know. I just like every now and then Hannah gets really judgmental. But going back to the whole point of these videos is talking about rage bait. Hannah is doing the thing that if this truly is rage bait, Hannah is doing the thing that this video was intended to do, and that is she is reacting strongly to the video, right? If this is actually rage bait, Hannah is having that strong reaction to this video because she said, absolutely not. This is unacceptable, right? It's not your kid. So there you have that. Full stop. Do I think it's absolutely not unacceptable? I fucking don't know. I don't have kids. But I wouldn't eat this. That's kind of the thing. Now, is Hannah going to run to this video and leave a comment lecturing this mom on how she's an absolute crap mom because she's feeding her kids these kind of snacks throughout the week? I don't know. Probably not. But there are lots of people who will, probably did, probably still do. But those comments are engagement, right? So if the point of this video was to engagement farm, it wins, right? Because there are lots of people who are outraged, who are absolutely nodding these snacks, the way this mom is loading up this fridge for her kids, and they're going to let her know exactly how they feel about that. They're going to leave her comments. They're going to thumbs down her videos. And again, I know these are TikToks, but I'm assuming TikTok is very similar to YouTube, where it just does not care what the interaction is as long as you are interacting, right?
In no world can this possibly be happening. I hope it's not. And based on something that I see later in this video, I have a feeling that all of this is just for show for the camera. If we keep watching, we see that she just put 5 boxes of mochi ice cream in a mini fridge, and mini fridges are not designed to be cold enough to keep ice cream in. I would know. I learned the hard way when my Ben & Jerry's leaked all over my mini fridge in college.
I had that problem too when I was working one time. We had those little mini fridges they put in the hotel rooms. They don't keep ice cream cold.
Been there, done that. This is a red flag to me that the mom is doing all of it for the camera and that this is intentional rage bait. Because we all know that mochi won't be stored in the mini fridge and that she's gonna have to take it out right.
There's a s'mores my mochi? Oh man. Damn it. Now I need it.
After she's done filming the video, which I guess for the sake of the kids, I hope this is all faked for the camera. I hope for their health and well-being that this is just internet rage bait and that she doesn't actually feed her kids like this. She got a lot of backlash for this video, understandably, so the following week she responded with this video. She's narrating it saying, after last week's restock video, we got a lot of comments and suggestions that I should be filling the fridges with fruit. And I thought that was a great idea, so we went to Trader Joe's and we stocked their fridges with whatever kind of fruit they want. Her tone is really snarky and sarcastic, really leaning into the rage bait now. Taking people's genuine suggestions to feed her kids something nutritionally valuable like fruit, and she turns around and she makes a joke out of it and adds more fuel to the fire. Now people are mad for different reasons. They're mad that she didn't cut or wash the fruit first, like you're giving your young kids whole watermelons, a whole pineapple, whole dragon fruits.
That's rage bait. That's rage bait right there. All right. I think the part of this is making me laugh the hardest is that, like, Hannah is genuinely confused as to why this woman did not take the heartfelt suggestions of people in her comment sections on how to feed her children. How dare you not take the comments of people on the internet seriously? I'm sorry. Anyway, this is genuine rage bait. But this is in reaction to the comments that she was receiving from the prior week where she was filling her kids' fridges with things that they apparently actually asked for, right? So, and I think the other thing that is genuinely funny about this is that people are upset that she didn't cut and wash the fruit. Did you miss the sarcasm? Who sticks giant mini watermelons into their kids' fridges in the first place? It's a joke. Anyway, sorry, I'm laughing. Whew. Now, this is... One could argue that this is trying to control the narrative through the mother here. She's weaponizing the critiques, right? By the first week was unprompted, right? That was just with the mother of these 11 kids. It decided to show the world that she caters to them by letting them fill their little mini fridges up with whatever it is snack they want. Now, why you would put candy in a mini fridge in the first place is weird to me, because why do you need to refrigerate candy, to a certain degree? And as Hannah was pointing out, the mochi ice cream, those little mini fridges will not keep ice cream frozen unless these are special mini fridges. I mean, maybe they're designed to do that. I don't know, maybe. But, because she also showed herself putting sodas into one. Was there another food substance that needed to be kept cold? Oh, and then one of the boys asked for steak. It would be implied that needed to be kept refrigerated after cooking. I hardly think he sat there and ate a week's worth of steak all in one sitting. I don't know, maybe he did. But so it seems to me that yes, some of this was performative in the first video. And I don't think, here's my thing. I don't think it was necessarily, the first video was necessarily rage farming, or rage baiting, because maybe it was showing which child asked for what, and then later it got moved into the big fridge. Maybe, I would hope. So, but the reaction that chain reaction that got caused by people commenting underneath about the stuff that she was putting in the children's fridges now caused this video where she went to the store and bought a bunch of delicious looking fruit, and stocked the kids' fridges with those individual fruits, right? This was the rage bait. But I don't think this was necessarily put out there to farm interaction with the video. This was a snarky reaction to the reactions to a genuine video, right? So I don't know if this counts necessarily, because it feels like this is more of a reaction to a reaction, but it's definitely attempting to control the narrative. And it's definitely weaponizing the response, right? Because yes, she's getting her kids, you know, fruit and stuff and healthier food, which one could argue the steak is fairly healthy. But at the same time, she's doing it not for the reasons that the well-meaning people of the internet wanted her to do it for. She's doing it in a snarky, sarcastic way as a retaliation for the comments that she received on the prior video, where she was showing a more realistic week of snacks that she would have normally given her kids. So that's what we've got here. So that's the narrative controlling and the strategic performative. So it is strategically performative, both of these, honestly, because again, I don't for a minute think that this fruit is going to stay in these kids' fridges. That's ridiculous. I mean, maybe it does until they're ready to snack. These fridges are all lined up in a row. It's not unreasonable to think that they might be all lined up in a row in the kitchen. So maybe when the kid is ready to have said dragon fruit, if it's an older child, they can either cut the fruit open themselves, or if it's a younger child, ask help for the fruit. There are 11 of them. I'm assuming the younger children can get help from someone. So there's that. It's that kind of like thing that's kind of funny to me. So there's that. But as far as this purposefully being here to purposefully create outrage, like the coffee might be there for, I don't think so. I think this is a different type of rage baiting. I feel like this is kind of like a snarky response to something that was not intended to create a reaction, which we've seen a lot of actually recently with the mother who was feeding her kids donuts for breakfast. She got that kind of a nasty reaction, and then she doubled down as well. This is doubling down, I guess. And then somebody recently, this woman who bought 36 microwave pizzas for her kid, and one of her kids, and people of course lost their shit over that, and she doubled down as well. Typically when you see these kinds of things and the internet decides that they don't like it, the next time you see the parent doing something, they're usually doubling down. I don't know if this is necessarily a double down, because she's not giving her kids even worse food. She's giving them fruit. I mean, these are healthy alternatives to chips and candy and that kind of stuff. And I would hope that this food gets eaten, because this is wasteful, in my opinion, because this is real food. So I hope most of this got eaten, as opposed to wasting coffee creamer, or wasting pre-made coffee, or, Ready Whip, or the candy bars, or the mochi itself. Nobody's starving because they didn't get to eat mochi. People might be starving because they didn't get to eat fresh fruit. All right. So there's that. But that's the mini fridges. I still am not entirely positive if her stocking the kids' fridges with chips and candy was really that big of a deal to begin with, but clearly the internet thought so. So, all right, we're gonna jump ahead to the next segment.
Continuing on with food-specific rage bait examples, here's a few I found that I'm just going to rapid fire at you. There are endless accounts of people posting the most asinine, horrifying, gut-bubbling, unrealistic recipes you could ever think of.
And again, I just want to point out the language that Hannah chooses to use in this situation. You know, her incredibly negative language that she chooses to use in this situation, pointing out that, again, the point of a rage bait is to invoke strong, negative, judgmental emotions, right? And every single one of those words that Hannah just used were indeed those things. And this is a video that Hannah is making discussing videos that create that exact response. I just think it's funny. So there.
Here's a lady putting hot dogs inside manicotti noodles, which she incorrectly calls cannoli noodles. I think that's another added level of rage bait.
Who cares?
She's trying to get people to correct her terminology too. And
Is she?
then she's layering on string cheese, canned chili, ketchup, mustard, onions, and more cheese on top.
Okay.
I guess in essence, this is somewhat of like a chili dog casserole type situation, but no one is doing this. This is not a thing.
Are you sure? All right. We're going to have a discussion about food and class. And I know you guys hate it when we have these discussions because y'all don't like it when I call you out for classism. Just because it's something that you don't recognize doesn't mean it's something that no one would ever do. Okay. Calm your tits. There's a lot more country out here than wherever the fuck it is you live. And I find that it's the coasts that usually have the biggest issues with these kind of dishes. Casseroles are a thing. Now, this is clearly some kind of chili cheese dog casserole, just because this is clearly what this is. And the noodles are clearly there to provide the pasta part of the casserole, because casseroles either have pasta or they have rice in them, or sometimes potatoes. And you can't have, I guess you could do chili cheese dog casserole with potatoes. Don't know why you couldn't. And it's clearly just a clever way to make a chili cheese dog casserole. Okay, chill. I find that people see these styles of dishes, these kind of like lower class poverty style foods, and they don't like how it's presented, or they don't like the unfamiliarity of these foods. And they get very judgmental of them. And and it really kind of says more about the person freaking out about the food than it says about the person who prepared the food. And I get a little tired of it. And I just feel the need to point it out. And I know I'm going to get more than one comment about this in the comment section, because I usually do. But y'all need to calm the fuck down. All right? There's nothing wrong with this dish other than it is all made out of canned food for the most part. The sodium in this dish is probably off the fucking rock, or, you know, off the fucking charts, because it's hot dogs and what was it? Hot dogs, string cheese, canned chili, and then more cheese. So yeah, the sodium for this is going to be nuts. I mean, yeah, you're garnishing it with like a fresh chive there, but let's be honest. Okay. That would be the part that I'd be like, this is not a healthy food. I'm not saying that, but this is not an unusual style of cooking for, I don't know, half the Midwest, most of the Midwest, the South. You know, this is not an unusual way of cooking for a good portion of the United States. So I need people, including Hannah, to chill the fuck out. Anyway, I suspect that is going to be something that I'm going to think through most of these. So just getting it out there.
I know I'm not playing the audio for you, but she starts off by saying, "This is my favorite thing to make for game day." Girl, no, it's not. This is something you're doing for views. No one is actually eating this.
I need you to not be so fucking judgmental. Yeah, people probably do eat this. She probably got it out of a catalog. She probably got it out of a magazine somewhere. So, yeah. Either that or she got taught to make this by family members. People eat this. I just need you to calm down.
And quite frankly, it pains me to see these creators wasting food so recklessly.
And the fact that she calls these cannoli noodles kind of solidifies for me that this is a typical recipe, because the misnaming of these noodles kind of solidifies for me that this is more of a regional thing for her. I know y'all don't like when I mispronounce things or I call things something funny, because that's how I was raised calling it. But that's pretty typical for different areas. Like, you'll have a local name or a local nickname for things. It's really common where I was from to call, especially colored peppers, bell peppers, call them mangoes. But we did. We called them mangoes. Still don't know why. But yeah, the further down south you get, it's not uncommon sometimes to see bell peppers as labeled as mangoes. So I don't know why. Don't ask me. I can't tell you why. But it's not. It's my grandparents referred to bell peppers as mangoes. And I honest to God thought that's what they were until I finally figured out what the fuck a mango was. It was very, very revealing for me. So these being called cannoli noodles, now they're not, I've never seen them sold like that anywhere. So she probably knows what they're actually called. But this is probably some kind of dish that she was either taught or she found in a magazine or something like that. Or maybe she even looked it up on the internet. I'm pretty sure you could probably find this recipe on the internet. Not this woman. All right? But Hannah sitting here and being very condemning of this is not, it's not it. This is not like, I'm trying to think of some actually egregious, like Kay's cooking. This is not like Kay's cooking, where she doesn't even cook the rice before she puts it in to make her stir fry surprise, was it? And then her poor son eats it. It's not like that.
In this economy, have you seen the price of groceries? And the comments are full of outrage as well. My favorite one being, "When judgment day comes, you'll be forced to answer to God for this aberration of sustenance, and he will deem you unfit for his kingdom."
Cool. What do you eat for dinner?
The same creator posted something like this, saying that it's, quote, "the best potato recipe." And she puts Lay's potato chips, milk, sour cream, butter, cheese, and bacon in a crock pot and then calls it mashed potatoes.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a real thing. I don't like it. It's a real thing. There's whole ass recipes where you take bags of potato chips and you, for whatever reason, melt them down, usually with milk of some variety, and turn them into mush. They make like potato cakes out of it. They make all kinds of shit out of it. I don't know why. You could just make potatoes. You could just buy instant potatoes. But this is a thing. So again, I need you to stop being like this. Maybe do some fucking research before you come after people for cooking.
And like clockwork, the comments come pouring in. "This is why the rest of the world hates us. Straight to jail. This woman must be stopped." So in other words, add several days of fat and sodium to a slow cooker, then add more fat and sodium. Don't skimp on the fat and add more fat. And when that's done, top with fat and sodium.
Okay. I can't argue with that one. I'm not saying it's healthy. I'm just saying it's a thing. Again, I don't know why they do it. It's just a thing. That comment actually has merit.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what she did. Is this satire? I seriously can't tell anymore. Americans eating as if they had public health care, and this is not even a good potato recipe. What the hell? We have got to stop falling for this. We've got to stop letting fake videos enrage us. They're only doing this to mess with you so that they can grow their platforms by creating these videos that go viral for being ridiculous. And by engaging with the content and leaving a comment, you're now enabling it, you're supporting it. This is an account on TikTok where she's supposedly making meals for her 65-year-old blue-collar husband before his 16-hour work shift or whatever.
She's married to a 65-year-old dude? Go for it, man. Was she doing the trad wife thing? Wow. All right.
Like this very long-winded, wordy narrative of exactly who she's cooking for, and it's always something.
Cook my senior hubby homemade spaghetti before his 15-hour work shift. Boil with a side of mac and cheese and Salisbury steak. Am I reading that right?
Something completely disgusting and inedible. Here we have frozen spaghetti and meatballs being fried in a pool of oil. Then she adds all of the salt from the Pacific Ocean. Then she
this is kind of gross.
She adds powdered sugar, garlic scooped out of the jar with her acrylic nails and flicked into the pan, more oil, clam juice, hairy American cheese, Parmesan cheese, and then she slathers it in ketchup.
All right. This is an abomination. I don't know what the fuck this is. Okay? First off, this is a banquet microwave meal or oven meal, so I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I don't know what's happening. I can't defend this. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening here. This one, there you go. I don't know what's happening. I almost could maybe with the frying, but why are you frying it frozen? That's just stupid. And then like, it really lost me at the clam juice. I don't know. The American slices of cheese, that wasn't hairy. That's just how American cheese is. It's malleable. It gets spread. Anyway, the point is, that's not that weird. But like the frying and the clam juice and what else did she put in there? All that salt and the powdered sugar? What? That's weird. I don't get that one. This was weird. If y'all understand what this one was, even the tomatoes, the ketchup on the top, that one is like, that's not that weird. The American slices, the ketchup, I know it's gross, but it's not that weird. The frying and the clam juice and the powdered sugar, way too much salt. Like, that is way too much salt. That was way too much salt. That's weird. That's weird levels of salt. Okay, so this one was definitely strange. This one's definitely performative.
And as if that wasn't a crime enough, she's got a moldy onion and eggshells sitting in the frame too.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that either.
Again, with the wasting of food for...
This one, just because of the setup of it and just the way it's done. Is that oil or is it boiling? There's no way that's oil. You don't fry frozen things. You just don't. That's like a safety hazard. Like, that's got to be boiling water. That has to be boiling water. That just, you don't fry frozen things. It's literally a safety hazard. Anyway, yeah.
Views. Clearly nobody's
Maybe, I don't know.
eating this. It's all going in the trash, and the only...
This is the same woman?
only thing that was accomplished by this was you pissed off the internet. Congratulations. The mistreatment of food for rage bait is like an epidemic at this point. Everyone's doing it. This one took a 2-liter soda bottle. She filled it with melted peanut butter and jelly, and she mixes it completely unevenly, which I admit that gets to me. That bothers me. Then she puts it in the fridge or freezer until it's solid, and she cuts the plastic bottle off. She slices it into rounds, and she pretends to enjoy her inch-thick slab of frozen peanut butter with a side of bread. And you might notice that her hook at the beginning of the video was things I wish I knew as a first-time mom.
At least she's eating it. I mean, there's nothing... It's weird, but she's not contaminating it. It's not like it's inedible now that it's been mixed together. It's bizarre, but also it's not like she poured half a fucking thing of salt on it and fried it. You know, don't they sell peanut butter and jelly mixed together in jars? Yeah, they do, don't they?
Which will undoubtedly catch the attention of new moms. I know it did for me when I came across this video in the wild. You go into it thinking that you're going to learn some cool, useful mom hack, but instead you waste your time and energy watching something that was only intended to anger you. And here...
Why did that anger you? It's weird, but why did it anger you?
Here's one more example for good measure. This one is pasta, Cheetos puffs, milk, cream cheese, American cheese, mozzarella cheese, garlic, salt, pepper, Dijon mustard, and butter. And it comes out looking like what my cat vomited on the carpet at 3 a.m. last night. The pasta is completely undercooked. It's totally inedible, straight to the trash.
Okay, first off, you don't know the pasta's undercooked. Secondly, you don't know it's inedible. Thirdly, this goes back to that whole wetting down potato chips thing. It's the same concept. I wouldn't eat this, but it is a casserole of some variety. I wouldn't eat it. Does it upset me? No. Somewhere somebody's making this and they're enjoying the shit out of it, I guess.
So, a lot of these recipe videos that I've shown you so far are outright undeniable rage bait.
The only one of those that I will say were outright undeniable rage bait was that spaghetti one. Because that made no fucking sense. Not a goddamn thing in that made any fucking sense. The rest of those were perfectly normal. Or the other two recipes that woman made were perfectly normal. The peanut butter and jelly thing, that's... I don't know. Does it really make life easier? I don't feel like it would. It seemed like a lot of effort for nothing. And this weird cheese casserole, because that's what it was. A cheese casserole with pasta. I mean, sure, I guess. I don't know why the Cheez-Its were in there, but flavor, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that one was undeniably rage bait. But I'm sorry about the freeze frame, by the way. I just don't think... I think people get very upset about food because people view food as a moral... People view food morally, right? And we always have. And because of that, people have real strong opinions about what should and shouldn't be done with food. Food is one of the ways we divide class, especially in the States, right? I got on everybody's case at the beginning with the casserole dish there and how people freak out about a lot of lower class, a lot of Midwestern style cooking. And like I said, a lot of the people I hear freaking out about it the most are usually people who live on one of the two coasts. And it's not something I ever dealt with until I moved to the coast. And I'm not even on the coast. I'm just near it. You know, I live in Pennsylvania. I'm not even on the coast. I'm just kind of like coastally adjacent. But it's just like, but food is another way that we divide class. It's probably one of the major ways we divide class, like who is and who isn't allowed to eat certain things. If you ever have heard somebody say they're on food stamps, or if you've ever witnessed somebody buy things and use food stamps to pay for it, there's a reason why they moved away from using actual like paper food stamps and got them cards, is so that it's harder to identify when someone is paying with food stamps versus when they're paying with normal money, because the stigma was crippling people being able to buy normal food and not be judged at the grocery store for buying things like steak, whole actual foods, fresh things with their food stamps, because it wasn't deemed something that they were allowed to have, because people on food stamps should be buying cheap food. They were only allowed to have the cheapest of the foods because that's what your food stamps are meant for, right? So, they had to rethink how they were paying people their food stamps to get them to buy better food, right? And still today, you will hear people who are very judgmental of other people who are using food stamps, right? That kind of a thing. But we're still like that. If we, you will hear people make fun of other people who are like, oh, I went out and I got a steak and lobster dinner, and people will be like, ooh, la la, you're being fancy. Well, it's steak and lobster. How fucking fancy is that really? I'm not going to eat it every day. But am I not allowed to have steak and lobster because why? But again, you see people make these styles of dishes, and you see a lot of judgment from other people who don't eat this way. And you see a lot of condemnation towards people who do eat this way. And it's mostly based off of the unfamiliarity between this style of cooking, and it's typically broken up by class. So, at least in my experiences. All right, I think that's enough yammering about food. We're not getting through this. We're not getting through this in two. There are a lot of studies on the internet if you ever want to do a deeper dive in this, which I don't think most of you will. But for those of you who are interested in doing it, if you ever want to type in like studies about class and food, it's not hard to do a Google search for these things. And it's actually a really fascinating studies. There's just been tons of studies on these kinds of things. And it's really, really fascinating to see how people, us, and it's not just a US thing, it's a phenomena across the world. But just how we use food to determine class, to determine wealth, to determine, what's the word I'm looking for? Worthiness. Food is just a very, even beyond like nutrition and, fat acceptance and that kind of shit. The act of food is something that we have as humans used for a very long time to determine how we break ourselves up into groups. And again, if you ever want to like Google that kind of thing, there's just an amazing amount of study out there about these kind of things. So when you guys hear me going on about this shit, it's not coming out of nowhere. All right. People who do sociology probably have a vague idea of what I'm talking about, if not a solid idea of what I'm talking about. And other anthropologists probably have a better idea of what I'm talking about, because this is not my field. I just know it exists, right? And other archaeologists are pretty aware of what I'm talking about. So that kind of a thing. Anyway, yeah, let's just get through another section and get away from my tirades about food. Oh, the hate comments. I can't wait. Every time I talk about this, I get somebody. I get a lot of somebodies. All right, next.
Posted by self-proclaimed satire accounts where this is like their whole shtick. They created that account for the purpose of this kind of content and it's working for them. But that's not always the way it goes. Sometimes creators are just going about their normal business and they do something that inadvertently irritates the internet, and then they realize how valuable that anger is, and then they switch up their content to accommodate it. Here's an example of that. This person did not start out rage baiting intentionally, but it happened kind of accidentally one time, and once she caught on to that, she used it strategically to grow her platform. In my opinion, based on the trends I've observed her content following over time. She started out sharing a lot of sourdough related content and recipes, and those did relatively well. They were in like the 20 to 40,000 view range usually. And then at some point she puts out this video of her making an ice cream sandwich with sourdough cookies. Here's that very first video, and there's at least 3 things that people are angry about in the comments, so see if you can catch them.
This Sunday night, I wanted another ice cream sandwich, and I was craving 2 soft and chewy snickerdoodle cookies with a layer of vanilla ice cream in between. And for this one, I underbaked them just slightly so they're extra soft. I rolled them
What is with the slapping and the throwing of things?
in cinnamon sugar, and the cookies are sourdough and naturally fermented, so they're gut healthy. And it turned out perfect. The snickerdoodles were so soft with cinnamon sugar in every single bite. It was so good.
For some
I don't know what I'm missing. You buy ice cream sandwiches that look exactly like that.
reason, this video irritates the internet. It gets on the wrong side of Instagram or something.
It irritates the internet, pretty much.
And people start leaving tons of comments about her voice, how irritating they think it is, how
My God, a woman was speaking on the internet. It irritates me. Oh, shit. Keep going.
thick the ice cream layer is, how she's slamming things down on the counter constantly.
Okay, the slamming did annoy me, but it didn't annoy me that much. Let's just say...
And particularly how she's calling the sourdough cookies gut healthy. This video gets 2.2 million views, which is completely unprecedented for her account. And in my opinion, I don't think she was trying to rage bait in this video. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say that she wasn't, but she definitely took it and ran with it. From this point on, there is a noticeable shift in her content where she transitions mostly into ice cream sandwich videos. And
I'm not mad. I like a good ice cream sandwich. I love Snickerdoodle. I think the only thing about that video that was particularly bizarre to me, other than the slamming of shit, was the cutting of the ice cream container. But I guess after seeing her put it on the cookie, it was like the perfect size, so I guess that made sense? Question mark?
she rode that wave for a while and really built up her platform, and now her videos are racking up like hundreds of thousands to sometimes millions of views on a regular basis. And we can notice that as time goes on, she's intentionally playing into all of those things that people found irritating initially with the first video.
Is she? Okay, so remember, the things that people found intentionally irritating was her voice, God forbid, the slamming of things, I found that annoying, and the gut healthy sourdough cookies. I've never heard of a sourdough cookie, to be honest with you. With sourdough, like once you cook it, doesn't that like eliminate the things that make the sourdough sour? Anyway, I don't remember.
In particular, she started exaggerating the way she's speaking. She's really making sure that all of her sentences are like this one long, flowy, all run together mush ball. She's making that slice of ice cream thicker and thicker and thicker, and she's really playing into the way that she says gut healthy to describe the sourdough cookies. All of these are things that she knows make people mad. Because again, it's easier to incite hate than love in a random viewer coming across your page for the first time. And she has absolutely grown her platform on the back of these rage baiting ice cream sandwich videos. Here's one that she did recently that was actually a sponsored video with the Unreal Candy brand, so now she's getting paid for her rage bait.
So this Sunday night, I want another ice cream sandwich, and I was craving 2 soft and chewy dark chocolate peanut butter cup cookies with a layer of vanilla ice cream in between. And for this one, I used Unreal's creamy dark chocolate peanut butter cups, and the cookies are sourdough and naturally fermented, so they're gut healthy. And it baked up perfect with that rich and creamy peanut butter filling.
I don't see it. If this is true, and this person is leaning into that, I can kind of see it, but it's working, and she's getting sponsorship for it. Poor Hannah's pissed about this too. This would be self-mythologizing. This would be the self-mythologizing feedback loop where we don't talk about this too much, but Anna does this a lot. This is intentional. It's part of the parasocial relationship that a creator will have with their audience, right? But that the creator is making with their audience, not like Amber, where she is the one who has the relationship with her audience. This is the typical parasocial relationship, but it's part of the feedback loop. So you have the creator, they encourage a relationship with, they encourage their audience to have a parasocial relationship with them, right? So they are encouraging that interaction, that building of a relationship. Now, you can have positive and negative parasocial relationship. It's just a matter of the audience member feeling like they have some form of a relationship with the creator. And it's one-sided, right? And I would say if you feel so compelled that you need to leave a nasty comment, a long, anyway, my point is, it can be either way. But the self-mythologizing part of it is that you, the creator, start to reinforce what the community is posting. So if what Hannah is saying is true, and this creator is starting to lean into the three things that the community found most annoying about her videos. Her voice, I didn't hear it, but there we go. Her voice, the amount of ice cream to cookie, and the fact that the cookies were gut healthy because they were sourdough. So the creator is leaning into those three things, and now she's overemphasizing those three things in her videos going forward because she knows that gets a reaction from her community, and so it feeds into that parasocial relationship with her community, which is a negative parasocial relationship, but it's still a relationship because her community is still interacting with her. That's the self-mythologizing loop. So she's using those characteristics that her community is putting on her as a creator. She is taking those characteristics, she's making it part of her character, her identity online. Whether they're part of her character in real life is irrelevant, but it's part of her identity online, right? She's overemphasizing her annoying voice. She's making the slices of ice cream larger because that's even more annoying. And she's emphasizing that these are gut healthy cookies. They're cookies. I don't see how they could possibly be gut healthy, but whatever. I see a lot of things called gut healthy that I don't understand how they could possibly be, but what do I know? But because she does those things, her videos get more watches, they get more interaction, and the algorithm loves it because it's getting those things that are important for the algorithm, right? And she gets rewarded from the algorithm because her videos are getting interacted with. And so you saw she's got sponsorships. She's probably getting paid by whatever. That's a TikTok. I don't know how TikTok pays out its creators, but you know, she's getting her sponsorships. She's probably getting paid through the algorithm somehow. And in general, she's getting paid by interaction with her videos. She's getting clicks. She's getting eyeballs. And her channel continues to grow, which makes her more valuable to TikTok and the algorithm, right? So that's how the self-mythologizing feedback loop works, right? Anna does the same thing, sorta. Not necessarily intentionally, but she does do the same thing. Anna kind of internalizes the things that her audience puts on her and tries to ironically project them, and it always fails. It doesn't fail. It doesn't work the way she expects it to work because her audience believes these traits about her. So when she tries to ironically portray herself the way the audience views her, it just reinforces it as opposed to, disavows it. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, but anyway, so that's why it doesn't quite work for Anna. But this woman was like, all right, screw it, and leans into it. If that's what's truly happening, you know? Maybe she just realized that making ice cream sandwiches was better than making sourdough bread because people like ice cream sandwiches more than they like sourdough bread. Ice cream's way more exciting than sourdough bread. I don't know. I'm a lot more excited about the ice cream sandwich than I am the sourdough bread, but, you know, every time you say gut health, I hit myself in the head. I mean, if that's what you want to do. Y'all put way too much ice cream. That was a bit much ice cream. Girl, your voice is an infestation of the brain. When people hear it, they get angry, annoyed, or a headache. I honestly do not understand what y'all's problem with her voice is. But here we are. So, all right, that would be... I mean, if that's really what she's doing and she's not just ignoring people. There we go.
Like I said, exaggerating the
also, that would be strategic performing. Strategic performing, because she's hamming up the delivery, if that's true. She's hamming it up, again, leaning into it, making it more noticeable. Like, everybody's bitching about her voice, so now she's sounding even more like Fran Drescher, I guess.
the way that she's running all of her words together.
That's not how you say her last
Sunday
name.
night, emphasizing gut healthy, putting a slab of ice cream on there so big that she nearly busts her jaw trying to bite into it. And I understand that these are really silly things for viewers to get irritated about. Just let her live her life, for goodness sake, okay? We don't have to comment on every tiny little thing that you don't like about somebody.
Hey man, if it's growing her channel and she's getting sponsorships, whatever.
These comments don't make sense to me necessarily, but
Girl, you bitched about the exact same things everybody else was complaining about. The only thing I didn't like was her slamming shit, because I don't like those sudden noises.
regardless, she's absolutely leaned into those negative comments and she's been able to monetize it now. People are still getting mad today about the same things they were getting mad about in the first video, but now she's using it to her advantage. Here we're starting to understand how creators can really build up their platform utilizing rage bait to the point where they're now securing big followings and huge, recognizable, well-paying sponsorships.
Here's something that I would find interesting, though, because I understand that the point of this video that Hannah is making is to look at the rage bait aspect of these creators. And so what I'm getting ready to say is a whataboutism. I would be interested to see the ratio of rage bait comments versus supportive comments, because I do wonder. You know, she earlier she read off what this person's following numbers were. Those can't all be hate watching, right? These can't all be hate watchers. So I would like to know the ratio of hate comments versus supportive comments. Now, here's the thing. People who are supportive tend to not leave comments versus people who are non-supportive, they will leave comments. So it does seem to skew towards, on anyone's channel, it does seem to skew, well, that's not necessarily true. Scratch that. Because I was just thinking about my comments. Like, most of my comments are not negative comments. They are supportive comments. So that just doesn't hold true. So this is a non sequitur. Anyway, but I would like to know what and you'd have to do it visually. I don't know how you would do it any other way. So you'd basically just have to kind of like scroll and do like a visual comparison of negative to positive, and it'd be very inaccurate, but at least you'd have an idea of how her community skews. But I would like to know how it looks. Hannah's point here, though, is to look at the rage bait aspect of it, so it's not unreasonable that the only comments she's looking at are the negative comments, because that's what Hannah is looking at here. So that's not I'm not being critical of that, because that, again, not what we're talking about. But she's just got a very large following and she's getting sponsorships, and I don't see sponsors wanting to work with somebody who's getting nothing but negative comments. Like, I don't see sponsors wanting to work with somebody who's infamous versus somebody who has a relatively positive following. Again, Anna as a good example. The longer Anna has been getting not quite positive feedback over the years, the fewer sponsorships I've seen her getting. The only one she seemed to be able to maintain is Starbucks. And who knows why.
For another example, this is a different creator who's also built her platform on rage bait and trolling the trolls. She started her account with motherhood and homemaking content, and then the video I believe began her rage baiting journey was this one. This was posted on January 1st of 2023, and she's saying that her toddler wanted toast with jam and butter, and so it's a video of her making all of those things from scratch.
That is a gorgeous dress, and there is no way in hell I would cook in that. Especially without an apron.
Homemade bread, homemade jam, homemade butter. This became the video that got the most views on her page thus far, and people started commenting, "What's wrong with your neck? Why is your face so smug? How do you have this much time? Your kids had to wait hours and hours for you to make this before they could eat it?" A lot of those original critical comments were really aimed at the fact
I just want to know how she kept that thing up, because this is riding real low.
that she's portraying this beautiful, idyllic, peaceful experience of motherhood, and like, how does she have the time with 2 toddlers to be spending hours and hours and hours making?
Why did you make it like that? Do you not have a stand mixer? You can make butter in a stand mixer in no time. I know I talk about stand mixers a lot, but that's because they're incredibly useful. And you can make butter in a stand mixer. Just put the cream in there and just let it go. You don't even have to watch it.
Making bread from scratch and doing it all while looking beautiful in this gorgeous dress, one-handed, very poised, kneading the dough with a baby in her arms. I think that's where the angle of these comments are coming from. Like, what is this? This is not
Okay, let's talk about this first off. Hang on. At the beginning of this, yeah, that look right there. This is rage bait. This has to be rage bait. She starts off saying, "My kids want toast with jam and butter." Now, who's eating the toast with jam and butter? Doesn't look like your kids are eating toast with jam and butter. Looks like you're eating toast with jam and butter. Madam. All this effort for your children, and then you're the one eating it.
real life. And from that point forward, she took all of those critical comments and absolutely ran with it. Now her videos look like this one.
My toddlers really wanted to color, but we were all out of paper, so I decided to make my own. I ripped up this old egg carton and put it in a jar with some water and let that soak until it was completely saturated.
I think I watched one of Hannah's videos out of order, and it was the trad wife one, and I think she used the same person in the trad wife video, because I just remember the paper making. Also, I cannot deal with the fact that there is a whole line of kitchen appliances called Smeg. That's rage bait for me. I can't. I just can't handle the fact that that exists. That's my rage bait.
I added it to my food processor and processed it until it was a nice mushy pulp before I added it to a separate bin with some water. Next, I dipped my mold and decal into the pulp and got a nice thin layer of it on the screen before transferring it to this little sheet. Then I laid all my soon-to-be pieces of paper out in the sun to dry before I got started on my crayons. I just broke up some old crayons and added them to the silicone mold and baked them in the oven at 350.
From now on, anything I do in the kitchen, that's how I'm doing it. My partner's gonna think I snapped.
300 for about 10 minutes and then let them cool, and they turned out so cute. By this time my paper was dry, so I collected that and binded the edges. I made 2 books, one for each of my sons, and that was that. I set them up at the kitchen table and they got their coloring on. I've always kept every piece of art they make, and I can't wait to see what they fill these books with.
Look, making homemade bread and jam is not a crime. It's really lovely, actually. But now we're going as far as making homemade paper and crayons when your kids want to color? Like, come on. Notice how her neck is even more stretched and her face is even more smug. And
Oh, is that what's going on with the neck? Her neck must be so sore when she gets done with these. That's making my neck pop. I like this outfit, by the way.
her mannerisms are that of a Disney.
This is like... I'm sorry. We're never getting through this. I can't. She's killing me. This is rage bait. All right. Yes. That bread one though, like there's no way in fucking hell that one was totally rage bait as well. Now, this is playing off the trad wife stuff. Hannah has a whole video on trad wives, on the trad wife trend, which I just after watching Hannah's video on that, I don't watch a lot of trad wife stuff, but I have complicated feelings about trad wife trend on TikTok because I feel like it's being co-opted for this shit versus women who actually do the more traditional stay-at-home wife thing. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't think this is trad wife, right? I don't care if she stays home. I don't care if she keeps the house. I don't care if she cooks and cleans and takes care of the kids. I don't give a shit about that part. This weird romanticizing of it. No one does this. Do people make their own paper? Yes. Do people melt down crayons? Yes. Do people give those things to their children to play with? Yes. You know, do people make bread from scratch? Yes. Do people make butter from scratch? I used to. It was cheaper. You know, there was a point in life where it was just cheaper. You know, it's just, but do they do it like this? No. No, they don't. And that other woman that she shows in the video, I can't remember her name. She's the more famous of the group. No, she made like cinnamon toast crunch cereal for her kids. It's just like, no, no. But this is trolling. This is A+ trolling right here. And she's doing it just because, you know, that first one got a reaction, and she is very much playing into that like Disney princess. She even had that Disney princess bow in one of these, and it's working because Hannah cannot stand it.
Disney princess, and she spends hours upon hours making paper.
Okay, that was cute. That was a cute trick. I can't do that.
Out of an old egg carton, which is something no typical mom of toddlers has any time or energy to do. Speaking from personal experience.
I love her outfits though. How does she get them to see, these would fall straight off of me.
This is not real life.
They're cute though. I love them.
This is a joke, and we should be receiving it almost like satire. And
so here's my question though. It's so obviously over the top, right? This goes back to Joel Robbins' The Silver Lining of Dark Anthropology. This is so clearly satire, right? This is obviously over the top trolling, satire. Like, nobody does this. It's comedy, right? So why doesn't Hannah accept it as such? Why is this something that Hannah decided to add in to this rage baiting video? Is it the comments that are causing the videos to be classified as rage bait, or is it the videos themselves? Because this is so over the top, right? This is so clearly satire. I personally wouldn't classify it as rage bait, but that's my personal opinion. Hannah clearly does, or else it wouldn't be in this video, right? And I mean, I even have a hard time putting it under, I mean, I can shoehorn it into dark anthropology because we can talk about, you know, performance and ritualized deception and performing of the whole trad wife thing. You know, even actual trad wives don't do that. They don't look like that. I think I even said at the beginning, man, that's a beautiful dress, but I wouldn't cook in it. I mean, real cook, I wouldn't make bread in that. You're going to get flour all over it. You're going to get shit all over it. Even a good cook is going to get something on that. Why would you ruin a perfectly good dress like that? But that's part of the performance, right? She knows what she's doing, so she knows she's not going to get anything on it, right? It's from what I saw, the bread was already made. All she was doing was turning it out for its final like punch down, and then I don't know, maybe she was shaping it and putting it into the loaf pans. I didn't see the final part of that. But even making the jam and stuff, she was far enough back that she wasn't going to get anything on herself. And then of course, like the elongated neck, I can't even do it. But just the obvious satire of it. It's very performative, But again, it is also strategic if she is actually trying to tick people off, right? If she's doing that specifically to make people mad, it's strategic, right? But again, I just find it so obvious that I don't even know if it's really worth sticking in here other than to put it under like Joel Robbins' classifications, where this is a way of using that form of strategic performance and the ritualized deception as a way of creating satire for us to watch and for us to rally around, us being the observers as a collective, you know, because we know collectively this is satire, so we can collectively laugh at it. You know, we can collectively be like, this is ridiculous. Nobody does this. Who in their right mind would do this kind of a thing? Your kids asked for bread, you know, 4 hours ago. Do you know how long it takes to make a loaf of bread, like from scratch? The butter's not the issue. The jam and the butter, those take like, I don't know, maybe an hour altogether, even if that. The fucking bread, though, the bread takes a while. You know, making the paper and the crayons. Your kids wanted to draw like yesterday, you know, kind of a thing. So that's the only way I can really see to kind of fit this into that. But Hannah definitely, I'm fucking so sorry about that. Hannah definitely sees this as a form of rage baiting, and I just don't necessarily see it that way. So that's my stance on that. Where are we at here?
And this would actually be a great video for me to do in the future about trad wives.
And she does, and I've already watched it.
This term
I don't think I've reacted to it.
refers to traditional housewives that perpetuate traditional gender roles on social media, that women should be homemakers and they should spend their time doing these kinds of tasks and making everything from scratch. It's an incredibly nuanced topic that I can't possibly even start to explain right here, but we'll probably be revisiting this creator in another video on trad wives.
And we do. All right. So, darn it. I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and put a loaf of bread or some bread product down in the comment section because we were talking about it. Yeah, as I said at the beginning, if you have questions about anything, drop your comment with a timestamp so that I can figure out what I was talking about and answer your question a little bit better that way. Do let me know what you guys are thinking going into this. I think this is the one where I went off. Yeah, so anyway, do let me know what you guys were thinking going into this. Use your timestamps. I cannot recall if I said, I think I said everything I wanted to say in the moment, which is why we have notes. But again, if you are confused about like why we're doing this, I definitely recommend you watch the first half of the first part of this, if not the whole first video, because that does kind of explain why we're doing dark anthropology of this video in particular. And we're going to have a third part of this because I talk too damn much. But that should wrap everything up. And yeah, that'll wrap everything up. So that being said, you know your emoji, you know to leave timestamps. Do let me know. There was links for everything down in the description down below. So do check that out. And that is all I have for you guys. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. And I will see everybody in part 3. Bye.
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.